Good evening, it's Rob Yates here, CEO of Tetrakey, and this evening I'm joined by my good friend and paddling partner and fellow adventurer this week, Dave Foley from the UK. Tonight is number 33 of 260 Facebook Lives in 2017 that we as Tetrakey will be bringing to you free of charge to ensure that your success is guaranteed this year. That means that we're giving you some 3,000 odd minutes, 45 hours worth of free content throughout the year. The same time, same place, Facebook Live, Monday to Friday, 5 nights a week. And that's us. Tonight we're going to be interviewing Dave, who is a qualified school teacher. He's a qualified coach and he's a qualified practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming. What formal education really provides for us. Now this is a really important topic because many of us make massive assumptions around what formal education is, what it provides for us, what it does, and that could be because we're employing people, but it also could be because we've got kids going through an educational program at this sort or process through this sort of time, and making decisions around that. And so no matter whether you're an employer, a parent, or you've been formally educated yourself and you're working out what next, tonight we're going to touch on all of that. So hold on to the seat of your pants because it's going to be quick. Few things to mention, as always. A ticket into the game for these Facebook Lives is to, what do we want them to click?
Click like and click share.
We didn't rehearse that in the slightest, but Dave's been on Facebook Live on your side of the equation a few occasions. So click like, click share. If you're on YouTube, give us a big thumbs up, and that's your way of showing your gratitude for the hours and hours that we put into providing this to you this year free of charge. A couple of other things to mention. In the text for the Facebook Live session, you can see the link to download our book. Our new book's coming out in just under 2 weeks' time, and if you've downloaded this book, you get to see it first before everybody else. Also at the top of our newsfeed on our Tetrakey Facebook page is the opportunity to take part in a 4-part course entitled Selling Success, which is looking about how you become good at selling for 2017 going forwards. And here's the thing, no matter what you do in life, you need to be able to sell to be successful, from being a good parent to a teacher like Dave to being an executive selling an idea. So it's critical that you go and take part in that free video. It's taken me about 40 hours over the past few months to build all this for you. So please go and access it. It's free of charge. It's our pleasure to give it to you. So Dave, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Rob.
No worries. Just tell everybody, what have we been doing this week? Where are you from? How are you here?
So on Friday night, I got dropped off at Heathrow Airport, and then I did a 17-hour trip to come and join Rob in Johannesburg. And then over the past 3 days, we've been travelling across Kruger National Park, watching lots of big game animals. Seeing some of them, seeing not some of them, but that's fine, isn't it? And it just generally I've been having a good time.
Cool. And Dave's a teacher, so in the UK at this point in time, it's half-term week. So
yeah.
So his class of kids aren't left abandoned in the UK, just not being taught at this point in time.
Exactly.
And tell me, you're not what I would call any usual teacher, because you haven't done the usual thing maybe of having gone to university, either done a Bachelor of Education degree or a degree plus a PGCE, and then gone straight into teaching. You've had some experience prior your degree, through your degree, and before actually becoming a teacher. What's that involved for you?
So after I finished my degree, I didn't really know what to do with it. If that makes sense. It was a maths degree, and then I did a little bit of travelling. I'm into my kayaking, so I travelled across most of Europe. Did that for a little bit. I've worked in outdoor activity centres, working with lots of different clients of all ages, from children to adults. I worked in a gym for a little bit. Did a bit of maths tutoring. I have been a teaching assistant in a secondary school. I've done all sorts, really. Just spending a lot of time with different people.
And so here you are now, you've got your own class, some teaching assistants, 32 little kids. In your opinion, tell me, what does formal education really provide?
It gives kids a grounding in all sorts of stuff that they need for their future life, as in their basic maths, basic speaking and listening skills, and giving them a bit of a broad spectrum of what's out there in terms of the arts and the sciences and everything else. And it gets them to be part of a team. If you've got a class of 31 children, then they're going to have to learn to be part of a team, because they can't necessarily have what they want all the time. And so they need to work together.
And so, I mean, people have lots of expectations around formal education. What, in terms of the expectations you experience, what is real in terms of expectation, and what is unrealistic or unreal in terms of expectations?
The expectation is that they'll get to the end of their school education with certain grades in different subjects. For example, the expectation for children in my class is to reach the Year 5 standard, which is the year group I teach. That's the expectation from the government and from the school leaders.
And what is that realistic?
Yes and no. For most children, that will be an absolutely ideal expectation. And for others, unfortunately, they won't quite meet that expectation for whatever reason. And that's the constant challenge of being a teacher, is to try and meet those expectations, but also be aware that they're not necessarily that realistic for everyone.
So the stereotypical school system follows this like sausage factory.
Yes.
You have 4 meat in at one end, and it goes in a tube and it feeds them through, and it goes to primary school through the years, secondary school through the years, and then maybe on to university. And if you want your kids to go to school and to go and then get a job working for somebody else, it kind of provides part of that structure. What if you're the sort of parent who wants their kids to do something different than that, be an entrepreneur, set their own business up, do something else? What else do you think that the parents need to be doing to support their kids to do that different route that the school just physically can't provide or doesn't provide?
Just giving your child the opportunity to be more independent and to learn the value of money, I would say, is quite important. Schools will touch on how to add up money, how to take away money from a certain amount, work out the change, but actually there's a lot more to it than that in terms of what they should.
Go on, tell me more.
So this whole idea of, I think Rob's probably mentioned this before, but it's the whole idea of, which we were discussing earlier, about compound interest. It's just in terms of, if you start thinking about money and how you can look after it and save it and work with it as early as possible, then you end up with a lot more in the future. And I don't feel that that is shared widely enough with everyone. Okay.
So tell me, so you're let's just flip that. Okay, so I agree completely. Kids need to go and learn about compound interest and probably need to experience it working. They need to almost touch it, feel it, experience it, and not on some, in my opinion, some yearly basis, because that's too long a time scale for kids. They need to see it happening almost in front of their eyes to understand it, because everything compounds on itself, from knowledge to money, to the size of your network, etc., etc. Everything is about a compounding process in life. And if you understand that principle, probably you're closer to being much more successful. Dave was swearing in the car earlier today when he was saying, I've always understood it. But now I understand it. I wish I'd started saving when I was 16 years old and compounding that interest, because what place would I be in differently in now?
No.
And the answer is hugely different, probably. Scary.
And I'm not a relatively what I'd call an old person. So for those of you who are a bit older than myself, then it's scary.
It's not even worth thinking about when you're as old as me. That's for certain. So tell me, let's go and put this onto the foot of being an employer now. So you're an employer. You're employing somebody young, maybe 18, 19, 20, who's finished their schooling and they're now in the workplace. Based upon that formal educational process, or maybe they've got a degree as well. Based upon that formal educational process that they've been through, what would be realistic in terms of something to expect out of them, but also what would be unrealistic?
So for most jobs, especially in the United Kingdom, you need to have a certain level of English and maths. That's pretty standard. So for anyone who you employ, they would have that. That's pretty simple, isn't it?
So that'd be a realistic expectation. A good level of English and maths.
Yeah. But then I see some employers looking for certain people skills, personal skills, and that isn't necessarily covered as much as it might be in formal education. That's almost left to the parents and the kind of upbringing that a child has, and at times those skills might even be more important than formal academic qualifications, I would say.
Cool. And something we've spoken about passionately over the past few days is time. Time's not something that those people have really been taught how to appreciate and use yet. So would it be fair to say that an employer then needs to put some time into enabling people to understand time when they take somebody on?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone seems to be just taught this process by which you go to school, you do more school, you might do more school, you might do university, then you get a job, and you're just constantly focused on getting that job and then the money involved with that job. But actually, as you delve into it a bit more, time becomes a lot more important to you. Well, it can do for some people.
Okay.
Definitely.
So for an employer, there's a whole series of considerations, because often people come out of these educational processes with zero work experience. And therefore they don't easily know how to adapt or move or shift or go and do whatever in terms of in the workplace stuff. There's a lot of maybe mentoring and stuff that needs to happen of those people. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you could give one piece of advice to an employer to get the most out of somebody that's just either completed school or just completed university, what would that be?
That's an interesting question. They need to provide a process by which they can see more than just people's academic qualifications. Some kind of task, or once you've employed someone, you need to give them the opportunity to understand more of the business side of things that they're going to be working with. Because
so the not the theory side, but the practical side of the business, like how does it really work?
Yeah, because the school education is geared up to almost just the theory side of everything, and actually being able to apply that in the real world is far more important, and that's sometimes not covered as much as it should be. So for an employer, they would need to show the young person in their job, in their organisation, how they can use what they know for the benefit of that type of job, type of employment.
So what you're saying, it's almost a dangerous assumption to say, well, they've been educated, therefore they can start making money for me now.
And we all have different educations. through different types of education.
Well, that's all, and the quality of schools and whatever else is all different, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now I know Dave is I won't say a fanatical reader, but you read actively, don't you?
Yeah.
You've got a book with you most of the time. Over the past 12 months, what's been the best book that you've read?
It's got to be The 4 Hour Work Week, I think. By Tim Ferriss.
By Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss, yeah.
There's a recommendation for you, 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Now, the next question is for what highest purpose?
For what highest purpose? Why? For what purpose? Yeah.
For what purpose would you recommend that book?
I like it because it talks about how you can more effectively manage your time. It does do it more from a business sense, but I've managed to apply quite a lot of it into my teaching. And actually, if you've got a big to-do list, then what's the most important thing to do? And that seems to be something that Tim seems to bring across quite well. He talks about the 80% of your time. No, sorry, he says about spending 20% of your time on 80% of the biggest thing you can do, and that's what I seem to do, or have been doing, and that's highly beneficial to get more out of your day and get more done, more done quickly.
Cool. Okay, so the 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. I've read it myself a couple of years ago. Highly recommended as well. Really, really good book. Lots of hacks in there of how to simplify things, from websites to marketing to outsourced PAs. I actually know of a school teacher that has a virtual assistant. That does a load of their admin stuff for them that they pay for, but that school teacher's got a second business that they run in that spare time that they generate.
Yeah.
And Dave's pretty good at managing his diary. Cool. So if you've got somebody out there now, we've got somebody watching this maybe who is considering doing something in terms of formal education. So they're either considering going and doing a degree now. They've maybe got somebody who they're going to advise to go and do something, or maybe they want to go and do something like a master's in something to progress themselves. What would be the one piece of advice you could give them around doing that, and doing that to make them employable, easily employable at the end of that?
I'd say the first thing is be sure that you're doing a degree or an extra degree that is going to be of benefit to you for what you're planning to do in your future. But at the same time, you need to seek professional development outside of the course that you do. And that can simply be from going doing some travelling and meeting new people, or that could be going into a different realm away from education and then coming back with newly acquired skills, or going on some kind of coaching course, or be coached by someone, or reading books. So it's quite surprising the amount of good information you can find to help whatever you want to do that's not in your immediate space. So for a person who's into their maths, don't just read about maths. Read outside, read psychology, read science, read literature, read everything.
Cool.
So just look outside of your interest to gain a higher level of knowledge.
Awesome. The more knowledge you've got, and the more variability of that knowledge, the more employable you become. So I have a little saying that knowledge is a wasted commodity unless you've applied the knowledge into practice that you've got. Otherwise, it's just harvesting stuff. And frankly, the harvesting process is actually a waste of time unless you apply it. You just waste it. You may as well go and work in the corner shop or work behind a bar pulling beer, because frankly you're going to be more productive and make more money. So knowledge without application is a complete waste of time. So there's a little thought for you. And so thanks, Dave, for coming this evening, being in South Africa with me. He's back to the UK, back to work late tomorrow night. And just here's a parting thought for you. How different would your life be right now if you had taken every single piece of learning that you'd absorbed and you'd put it into action? What is it that you've already learned that if you apply starting now will make a significant difference in your life, in your business, and on your road to success? Most people don't need new learning, don't need a new strategy. They just need to go and put in place what they've already got, and they'll be 99% of the way there. So that's it. So that's your challenge. Identify what it is you've already learned and already know, and you know what that is, because if somebody says it to you, you go, oh yeah, that. And that's probably the place to start in terms of doing something and taking a big step forwards for yourself. So whatever it is, oh yeah, that you already know, how about going and doing it to 100% consistently, and then just seeing the positive difference it makes for you. So Dave, thank you very much. Fly safely. We'll see you soon, and hopefully I'll see Dave on the other side of the Facebook Live next week sometime. For the rest of you, have a brilliant 24 hours. Tomorrow's Facebook Live, we're going to talk about all the over-helpful people in your life who give advice but don't walk their own talk. And so we're going to go and talk about advice from people with a lack of congruence tomorrow evening, and how to manage that as somebody who is on a path to becoming immensely successful. So thank you for your time, thank you Dave, and please press like, press share, download Selling Success, download the book, and we'll see you in just under 24 hours time. Good night.